Hello, my name is Sydney Leach and I will be working with Giant John by Arnold Lobel. The standard which this activity will address is LAFS 1RL13. Describe characters, settings, and major events in a story using key details. For this activity, students will get to choose a character from the story, like Giant John, Mrs. Giant, the fairies, or the royal family. And I know that the fairies in the royal family are multiple characters, but they all do the same thing. And so students will be given one of these flashcards that have the characters' names on them. And they will choose a character from the story based on one of the flashcards and act out their role. Students will be required to present a summary of their characters and their roles in the story. For example, if a student chooses Mrs. Giant, they would say something like, "Hello, I'm Mrs. Giant, and since we couldn't afford food, I sent my son, John, out into the world to get a job so that he could buy food. After he returned, I made him and all the fairies dinner, and we lived happily ever after." This activity relates to the core standard because students are using details they remembered from the book to act out their characters. Students will be required to know details and actions of the characters in order to accurately portray them. I cited Pat Wolf to explain that the visual of seeing a peer act as a character would stick in a student's mind. The rubric that will be used to assess this activity has a maximum score of 12 points. Each category is evaluated from 1 to 4, 1 being unsatisfactory and 4 being perfect. The rubric is a valid assessment tool for this activity because it evaluates choice of character, presentation of the character, and clarity of the presentation.